crazy.
May I point out that something that's not so brilliant is Ray Lahood. Ray Lahood is our transportation secretary. I've never heard anything quite like this. Listen to our transportation secretary taking credit. This is Al Gore taking credit for the internet times 10. Listen to this.
I don't think the car manufacturers would be manufacturing the cars they're manufacturing today as hybrids if it weren't for what the president did in signing the executive order and what Lisa and I have done over the last 3.5 years about developing CAFE standards for automobiles and light trucks that'll get 54.4 miles per gallon
Well, let's talk about that.
I think we have jump-started the ability. I mean, when you see now a Lexus hybrid, no one would have ever predicted that 2 years ago.
No. They sure wouldn't have.
They sure would have. You know why they wouldn't have predicted that 2 years ago?
Because it came out in 2004.
So
8
it wouldn't
years
have been
ago.
a prediction.
You can't predict history, Ray.
You know what I predict? Here's what I predict. I predict someday the Indians, we'll call them Indians or let's call them Redskins. There will be a football team named the Redskins somewhere around our nation's capital.
Wow.
I'd make that prediction. Nobody would have seen that coming 2 years ago. 2 years ago, nobody would have seen the Redskins. The Washington Redskins, Indians. I made that prediction.
I predict that the Green Bay Packers will win not just the first Super Bowl, but the first two Super Bowls.
No way.
2 in a row?
Yeah. Who would have seen that one coming just 2 years ago?
Nobody. Nobody.
What's the Super Bowl? I can't even.
Okay, here. I predict if it wasn't for the things that I have done, okay, I predict that there's no way nobody would have seen lights in a television studio like right now. Like right now. Nobody has seen that. If it wasn't for the things that I have done in television.
Right.
That these lights, this is an electric light. Who would have seen an electric light
2 years ago?
2 years ago.
Nobody
in
would
a
have.
Studio?
No.
Nobody would have.
No.
It's because of the network that I built. These lights are in the studios. Because the manufacturers knew Glenn Beck's going to get into TV. We got to make some lights. And now they're in every studio all around the world.
Wow.
Who would have seen that?
You created the opportunity.
I created the opportunity. Is that the craziest thing you've ever heard?
Unbelievable.
Can you imagine?
Predicting the past.
Who would have seen this 2 years ago? Who would have seen this?
And he specifically names the Lexus hybrid, which I think was the first luxury hybrid, wasn't it?
I think it was. Yeah.
And they were on the cutting edge of this thing in 2004.
Can I tell you something? If it wasn't for the things that we have done in the past, I don't think that there would be a Marxist, terrorist-hugging president in the Oval Office. Who would have seen that 4 years ago? That we'd have a president in office that is embracing Muslim terrorists and is a Marxist. Actually, I don't think anybody would have seen that.
I don't
4 years ago.
4 years ago, I don't think they would have seen that.
How many people don't see it now? But our transportation secretary didn't see hybrids coming.
Well, it's because of his extensive work and that of Barack Obama. So thank you.
What was his? What was he before the transportation secretary? Was he inspector number 11? I was inspecting Sansa pants. I was making sure. I was inspector number 11. I leave my little tag there in every pocket of Sansa pants.
Looks like he was a congressman.
Congressman from what state?
From, shockingly, Illinois.
What a shock.
That is a stunner.
Oh, I have to show you this. Last hour, we showed you the little blue book. Let me show you this. This is great. This is the first convention of the industrial workers of the world. This is the original little red book for America. This is the first communist convention. You'll never guess where it happened. 1905. Where did it happen? Quick, name the city. You'll never guess.
Madison, Wisconsin.
No. Chicago, Illinois.
Oh.
Okay, Chicago, Illinois. Listen to this.
60609.
This is a quote from what it is the minutes of this first convention, okay? Listen to this. But see here, do you believe there's any truth in this story of the carpenter of Nazareth? If you do, ask yourself this question. How many kinds of a fool was he when he spoke a prayer? And I want to give it to you word for word. Quote, "Our Father who art in heaven, thy will be done on earth as it is in heaven." End quote. Now I want to ask you a question. If you believe he was really here for that purpose and that he was a true representative of your cult, I want to ask you, who owns the corner lots and the oil wells in heaven? Laughter and applause. While they've been talking and praying about his will and his kingdom here on earth as it is in heaven, we've had 19 centuries of Christianity in jails. I don't believe that kind of praying will do anybody any good. Same rhetoric that you would hear from the Muslim Brotherhood, same rhetoric that you would hear from many of the presidential advisors, same kind of rhetoric that you hear now on television and in movies. This is the first convention of the industrial workers of the world, the first communist convention held in the United States of America, 1905. How things have changed. This point of view is now mainstream. And anybody who is opposing it is just crazy. But who would have seen that 2 years ago? That and a hybrid. I mean, we never would have seen a hybrid coming. That's, woo.